Hi, everyone. My name is Kent Berkman. I am a junior here in Cranert, and I am joined by Nick Rosso. Nick, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Of course. Yeah, like Ken said, my name is Nick Rosso. I am a senior studying supply chain information and analytics, and I am from Akron, Ohio.
Awesome. So, Nick, that's a pretty unique major you have. Could you share with us a little bit why you chose that major and explain the supply chain major here at Purdue?
Yeah, it's definitely a unique major. I really didn't know too much about supply chain when I came to Purdue, but what I found out about it is it's really all about being efficient and being effective in a business, and it's really data driven. And that was the main reason I chose the major because I'm really data oriented, and I love that. On top of that, you can pick one of three focuses: MIS, business analytics, or supply chain operations in it. And I really like the MIS technical aspect, so that was another big reason why I chose that major.
So you mentioned that it's data driven. I know Cranert as well as Purdue are pretty STEM focused schools. Could you touch on that a little bit? I know that we're known as an engineering school, but it also extends to other colleges, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I think when you think of Purdue, the first thing that comes to your mind is engineering, but you've got the Cranert family, which is even more data driven because of the engineering. There's a lot of courses that you will take within Cranert that are super analytical focused. You'll take management science, which is linear programming. In my major, you'll take even more supply chain analytics courses and even some programming courses that'll really drive home that analytical background that I think Cranert's focusing on.
Agreed. So Nick, I know it's been a long time for the both of us, but if you could think back to your high school senior year when you were applying to schools, what other universities were you applying to? Was it just Purdue? Was it a couple of schools? How did that look for you?
Yeah, so I applied to a decent amount of schools. Being that I'm from Ohio, the biggest school I applied to was Ohio State. Um, but I also applied to like Miami University of Ohio and then some other Ohio universities in Purdue, of course. And I think the main reason I ended up choosing Purdue was really because of just the international aspect and how many faces you get to meet from here from all around the country. And like we mentioned, like we talked about earlier, I knew Cranert was very analytical driven, and that's what I was looking for in a program.
And what was it like coming to Purdue as a freshman? How was that freshman year transition for you?
I think it was nerve wracking. There were only two people from my graduating class that came here.
Wow.
So and I barely spoke to them to begin with. So it was nerve wracking, but looking back on freshman year, it was definitely one of the best years of the 4 years. I think, you meet a lot of people, and that's the best part about it. You meet so many people and you learn so much about yourself uh, growing up and becoming, a college student.
Agreed. It's definitely a transition for everyone, and it seems to work itself out pretty well for most.
Mhm.
Nick, could you tell us a little bit about your favorite Cranert course or favorite Cranert professor that you've had?
Yeah. I think in terms of my favorite course, I really enjoyed Management 288, which is programming for business applications. This course is more on the MIS path if someone decides to pursue that path, and you learn how to code in Python. And I had never learned any coding skills before, so it was really interesting to me to see that, I guess, back end and translate it into front end development. In terms of professors, Andy Alexander is a really good one. I know he's really popular amongst the students. He just relates really deep down with the students and is really personable.
Nick, how would you describe Cranert or Purdue as a school? Would you just say it's very competitive, or it's very welcoming? How would you describe this?
I would say welcoming. I think you hit it right on the head there. Um, I like to call us a family personally. I think that's the greatest thing about Cranor is we're a family. Like I said earlier, you think of Purdue Engineering, but you forget about Cranor. And when I go out and meet new people and I find out they're in Cranor, it's like we have that like special little bond right there. So it's just that thing about Cranor.
It's funny. I think it's definitely a phrase that floats around the students because I've been doing these with a couple of other students, and Cranert family seems to be the word that most people
Mhm.
bring up. It's definitely a common thing, and it really is a family in Cranert, which is really great for us.
Yeah, I love it.
Nick, is there one piece of advice that you could share with an incoming student, something you learned maybe from your experiences?
Yeah, I think I tell everyone who has been involved who I've got the pleasure of speaking to underclassmen wise, I say just get involved in Cranor organizations, or even if they're not even Cranor organizations, get involved. I think that's your best way to network. I think that's your best way to make friends and truly enjoy the 4 years, the short 4 years, as I say now, being a senior. It's the best way to enjoy it.
So that's a great transition for us. How were you able to get involved on campus during your 4 years at Purdue?
Yeah. So my freshman year, I was encouraged by a lot of people to get involved. So I got involved in OSCO, which is the Operations and Supply Chain Organization. I ended up, after 3 semesters, becoming the club treasurer. And then after a year of that, I became the club president. My term just ended as the president. So I've been really involved in that organization, and I've met so many great people, been able to network with so many great companies as well throughout my time with OSCO.
I think that you find that it's really normal for Cranor, and especially for Purdue students too, to have leadership positions within organizations, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's a really good aspect to throw on your resume as well, to show that you're taking some responsibility outside of the classroom. That's something that employers are going to look for, to see that you're involved and that you're making a difference outside of just your normal day-to-day in classroom.
So outside of those on-campus activities, another big part of your resume and your experiences is the professional internships. Have you been able to have any of those during your time at Purdue?
Yes, I have. I've been fortunate enough to have one every summer since freshman year. I started off working in sales. It's kind of hard as a freshman to find your perfect fit when you don't have that many courses underneath your belt. So I worked sales. And then after that, I worked as an IT business analyst. And then the summer after that, I worked as an IT technical solutions analyst. I really do like the IT field. And I'm currently actually still working that role. I work part-time, about 20 hours a week for that internship.
That's awesome. It's a nice part about most Cranor degrees is that you're able to be opened up to several different things. You're not just working one specific task. You can apply for different roles and work with different roles, which is really great. Well, Nick, I think we're going to wrap this up, but one last question for you, if you don't mind. What has been your favorite part about being a Cranor student?
I think the best part about being a Cranor student is just the opportunities that Cranor gives you. We obviously touched on Cranor being a family, but I think Cranor offers so much more. They have an alumni organization that is just, world renowned. There's people from all types of companies. And then on top of that, the networking you get to do with like international students who come here and, from all over the country. I think that's the best part of Cranor, at least to me. And that's my favorite part.
I definitely agree. True. Nick, thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to the incoming students. We hope to see you on campus soon. Boiler up.
Boiler up.